Welcome to this edition of the Dean's Video newsletter, and also welcome to this new year. I hope that you all had a restful holiday and that it was joyous and you had family members and were safe during it. In the course of this year, we're going to talk about a number of topics, but today we're going to talk about the conflict of interest policy. This is particularly important to us as a school because we were one of the first schools to come through with a policy such as this, and it's been ranked as the #1 policy in Canada. That is a really important set of implications because these do form guidelines for us in terms of how do we interact with industry. It's important to look at this policy because it will give you this foundation for all members of our faculty as to what are the parameters under which you can function with a pharmaceutical or with industry. What can you receive, what can you not receive? Beautiful guidelines that have been very carefully written. The important piece about this policy is that it is an overarching policy for our faculty. That means whether you are a student, whether you are a member of either dentistry or medicine faculty, whether you are clinical or whether you are basic sciences, this is the policy that is the overarching one for us. In areas where we have policy determinants, for instance in the hospital sector, we will always look towards the most stringent of the two to determine which will be the governing one. So if in fact the hospital policy is more stringent than ours, it's the hospital one which will be the important one. You also need to be aware that there's a conflict of interest guidelines for the university as well. So there's a broad array of recommendations and in fact in some senses rules that will help govern these relationships. The importance of us having a policy such as this is that you only need to go and look at the instances where problems have arisen when you don't have it, right? The absence of a policy means that you don't have any consistency about how individuals within a faculty, or indeed how a school interacts with industry, with pharmaceuticals, with donors, or across the range of where we might receive support. So the importance of it is it provides that framework that helps you guide through some very challenging relationships. The next steps to this are actually multi-leveled. So the first one is that if you find yourself in a scenario where you're asking the question, is this a breach of the conflict of interest? You can go to the website and you can look it up quite readily. So that's right off the top. The second is that we do have an expectation that every member of our faculty and undergraduates will have had a look at this conflict of interest policies. So particularly where we're looking at it from the clinical point of view, you're going to be asked to sign off a document as you do your annual assessments that you have actually looked at the conflict and you have no conflicts with this. The same thing will work its way across to the basic science as well. So that's really giving a bit of an overview of the conflict of interest guidelines. I really do suggest that you go to the website and have a look at this. Tom Freeman and his group have done a tremendous amount over the course of the last years, putting this together, listening to the feedback with regards to areas where it could be improved, and then doing so. Again, I reiterate, this, when looked at on a national basis, was ranked as the #1 conflict of interest guidelines in its comprehensiveness and is now being looked at by other schools. So have a look at it and work your way through it. In the context of what's happening this year, there are a lot of things we're going to be talking about in the next series of video newsletters that come on. Just keep a really close eye on the website for things that are happening at the school. But welcome back to 2014. It should be an exciting year for us.